Alright, peace, beautiful souls, and welcome to another video brought to you by Celestial Alignments, and I am your host, Saleh. And today we are going to be discussing a subject that is of great importance. We are going to be talking about pain and pleasure, and how pain and pleasure, these two forces, are two sides to the same coin. That coin is desire, right? Pain creates desire, pleasure creates desire. Now it's important to understand that painful things, pain pushes away, you know what I mean? So anytime there's something painful to us, we want to get away from it. Pleasure pulls things to us. Anytime there's pleasure with something, towards something, we are attracted to it. We want to get closer to it. Now, mentally understanding that this is how, pain and pleasure express themselves, mentally we can now go on to look at certain experiences that we go through, certain just obligations and responsibilities that we need to handle that may be painful to us. Work, for example, or going to the gym and working out, So let's say you know what, let's make it something that's somewhat more mandatory. Let's say work 9 to 5, right? And it's not mandatory. You can manifest money. You don't need a job, for real. But we'll say that because that's the world that we live in. Alright, check this out. A lot of people hate their jobs, right? It's painful. Now, the reason why they hate it and it's painful and they want to get away from it, because a lot of jobs are BS, of course, but mentally, they have more painful qualities and painful experiences related to that than pleasurable experiences related to that 9 to 5, you know what I mean? So in their minds, it's more about the pain, the fact that they don't want to be there, the fact that they're being overworked, the fact that all of these painful things. And so what that does is it manifests and it creates a scenario and a situation along the line later where it's like you lose your job, you get injured, or like you can't work for some reason, you know what I mean? Because like I said, pain is always going to push away. It's always going to push away. So being a person who has a 9 to 5, and that's kind of where you're at right now, it's not forever, but it's where you're at right now. Rather than thinking about the pain of having to go somewhere and be worked like a slave, you know what I mean? Think about the pleasurable aspects of it. If it's labor intensive, look at it as a workout. Look at the fact that you're molding and building your body, you know what I mean? Look at the fact that because you're on a routine and you're on a schedule, you're now developing more like time management abilities. You're developing, better self-discipline and just more structure and organization. Look at it as you're going to work and you're going to hang out. Maybe you have a coworker you enjoy hanging around, Another example, right? Let's say you're interested in a mate of the opposite sex, right? But as you are approaching her, we'll say you're scared and you're nervous. It's because in your mind you're focused more on the pain than the pleasure. You know what I mean? There was enough pleasure for you to go and like want to approach her, but then if the pain outweighs the pleasure, then what's gonna happen is, because pain and pleasure, they're not completely conscious things, they're more subconscious. And so it's like consciously you may be focused on the pleasure, but then subconsciously, because of things you're scared of, like the rejection, like what if I don't say this right, like that's actually gonna manifest, you know what I mean? A lot of the things that we find ourselves liking right now, liking today, stem from experiences we had at a younger age, learned behaviors, things that we learned, the foods that we enjoy, we learned to enjoy that. Like I started smoking cannabis at a young age, My experience with cannabis is actually a great segue into pain and pleasure, and discussing it in a manner where you can actually take this knowledge and apply it into your own life. So I've been smoking weed since I was 12 years old. There have been times when I stopped smoking for months on end, you know what I mean? And every time I would stop smoking weed, right? Like let's say on the second day, third day, I probably have a craving or something like that, right? every time I would have, whoa, before that even comes, how did I even stop, right? Let's talk about how I stopped. So, in my mind, I've made the executive decision, a decision I'm going to execute, right? That's what that means. That I'm going to stop weed. That executive decision has already been made in my mind. The next step to take is creating a positive list of aspects on why I should stop smoking. Better like mental clarity, I think. I would have a lot more energy. I would be way more productive. Like like even right now, getting into the energy of seeing the pleasurable aspects of it is like pushing me away from smoking weed and attracting me towards sobriety, you know what I mean? That's how I did it. That's how I would do it. So I would make that list of the positive things, and I'm trying to make it as long as I can and as important as I can. Of course, I don't want to just make positive things that don't matter to me. When I make my positive aspects, you know, like certain benefits that I don't really care about. So I try to make it very personal, right? That's the pleasure. That's the pleasure aspect, and that's where the pleasure is gonna come from. That's gonna help me go away from that which is painful, the weed, and go towards that which is attractive, the sobriety. But once I have that in my mind, then I also create a list of negative aspects, which is where the pain is gonna come from. And this is where I list out all the negative things that come from me smoking weed, you know, and I list it. And then now in my mind, anytime I have a craving to want to smoke weed, I pull those lists of pains, you know what I mean? And then having that pain, because that's just how it works, I get pushed away from it. Like you don't put your hand towards the fire, right? You like, it's painful, so you go away. Like that's just how it happens. Now, when I'm not craving, I'm usually operating from that energy of pleasure. That's what's attracting. That's the force that attracts, and that's deep. Because when you think about how people talk about manifestation and they talk about cultivating positive emotions, it's about pleasure and pain. You know what I mean? It's really deep. So, what I would recommend you guys do is go back to your childhood, because trauma is kind of how pain manifests into our lives, and then learned behaviors is kind of how pleasure manifests into our lives. That's kind of how that's very generalized, simplified explanation upon it. But so yeah, looking at learned behaviors that you had and traumas that you had are really going to help you understand your life from the perspective of what pains are pushing you to not get into certain things, and what pleasures are pulling you towards certain things that may be destructive but could also be constructive, right? Now, an example would be, it's like certain people had pain, right, in relationships, and that pain in relationships, right, pushes them away from healthier relationships in the future. And this is very basic, like it's very simple. Like it's obvious that pleasure attracts you and pain repels you. But what we need to start doing is we need to start being more constructive. It's pain and pleasure. When you're setting goals, make sure you sit and you write down all the pleasures that come with you accomplishing this goal, and all the pains that come with you not accomplishing this goal. And anytime you feel like not doing it, think about the pains. You know what I mean? Think about the pain, and put yourself in a space of pain. Like, look, you can either go through life and be life's play toy thing, or you can realize like, holy shit, I made it to like this level of consciousness where I can operate as a human and I actually kind of have free will. You know what? Yeah. And I actually kind of have free will, and I can start strengthening that free will. Once you're a human being, you become your own free agent. You are now given a choice to become a devil or a god. You know what I mean? Like, it's like animals, plants, And those lower life forms, they're kind of going through experiences that are subjected to nature, whether that be the cycles in the heavens or the natures below, which are the same thing really. So yeah, animals, they're more subjected to that, to the environment, etc. Human beings, on the other hand, we kind of have an ability to override our environment, override our circumstances through our own will and our own desire to want to do better, make better, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's like you can either continue living and operating from that animal consciousness and below and kind of just be play toy for life, or you can step up to the occasion and start playing ball, you know what I mean? Alright, peace. I hope that this video, has been valuable and it has served you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you took a thing or two from it. Definitely leave a comment below, and if there's any questions you guys may have for me, ask, and I'm always happy to answer. And like I said previously, or like as I always say, if anyone is interested, in tapping in with me and asking me about my service, how I can help them, definitely tap in. I am an astrologer. One of the things I do, of course, as an astrologer is I help people break down their birth charts. And understanding your birth chart and looking at your aspects, so your positive aspects and your negative aspects, that is kind of like a cheat code or a shortcut for you to become aware of the pain and the pleasure that manifests in your life. But even after that, you should still revisit your childhood, right? But yeah, another thing I also do is I offer a couple classes on astrology, of course, on alchemy, on esoteric psychology, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely tap in, and I'd be more than happy to assist you on this journey, that we're all going through and that we all truly need guidance on. Alright, peace and namaste.